right. What's up, guys? All right. So this is the second take of the first episode of High Road to History with me. Yeah. The reason my first video got taken down because I got copyrighted because I used the song, but whatever. Fuck it. So what we're doing here today is we're talking about the Battle of Gaugamela. This is what it's going to be. Just me talking about history. So and getting high. So today, I bought a dad pen yesterday, and I never have been before, but it's actually like it's pretty nice. So um, here's what it is. This is where I got it. It's actually like really nice stuff. Um, it's for real. So I'm gonna do this first, and then we'll get going. Sorry if I'm sweaty. I had boxing today. I'm tired. I just got out. It's hot. um, yeah. So, anyways, all right. Let's get going. So we're gonna get a backstory. So this is about really Alexander the Great and his conquest into Persia. So we have to start with Persia, right? You have to start with the villain because every good movie depends on the fucking villain. Everyone. So we gotta look back in the history of Persia. So Persia became this great empire, like where like if you watch like 300, there's like they have like that like huge army and shit. The guy who built this is Cyrus, and Cyrus did about 150 years before Alexander the Great. So like it's like 460 BC or something. So, um, it goes down the line. Like the next king of Persia is Darius, and then Xerxes, and then you had Artaxerxes and all this stuff, and then it gets to Darius the Third, and that's our villain in this story. So Darius the Third, he's about like 45 or 50 years old. He's like middle aged. He got he inherited like this giant kingdom. Like he's kind of like a god king. It's like what they viewed him as, kind of like a pharaoh, and like they like respected him. It wasn't like how like Catholics and Christians are, where like they're like, oh, we believe in God and everything, and then you go have like unprotected sex with a hooker. Um, sorry, I don't really care. Um, they really, really believed in him, and he was like a really big deal. And he was also like the general of all the armies and everything. So he was actually he controlled like the better part of the world for the most part. So at the same time, Philip II is the king of Greece, and that's where Alexander the Great's from. Philip II is Alexander the Great's dad, and while he's been ruling, Philip II, he's been developing the Greek army like intensely. Like he goes and will fight the surrounding territories and people and everything like every year or 18 months. Like so they're constantly at war, constantly. And they turn, after a while you get a lot of experience. But then on top of that, he took aspects from all the surrounding armies, like the best aspects, like horse riding and hitting people in the head with swords, and like who's the best at what, and then like incorporating it into his own army. And so he basically made like this amazing like hybrid army of just savages. Like I couldn't even imagine. He developed this whole new like style of fighting with a phalanx, and when you think about it, like I couldn't like I imagining this would just be scary. So like imagine like a phalanx is like 16 by 16 guys. It's so they're lined up and then like in a square, right? And so it's 256 guys, and they all have these giant like 16-foot pikes. They all have javelins, and they all have swords, shields, and like heavy armor. And they just march, and they just like people. The better part of that is since they're so well put together, it's really hard to break their ranks, and they're so like the guys in the second line will stab with the spears and stuff, and they're hard to beat. They're just a really really good army, but they're not that big. They're not as big as Persia. So Alexander the Great's mom was a witch. She was a snake charmer and like a rumored witch. Like she was really weird. So this is like really cool. This is like movie type shit. You know, this is like, you know, your parents are like this heroic guy, and like then like your mom's like this wicked witch of the west. And then when he's 20 years old, his Philip II gets fucking killed. His dad gets fucking stabbed by like a Persian assassin, right? And then that assassin gets killed by the royal guard, and it's like, what the fuck? So this is literally like a fucking movie. Like whenever I think about this, this is like this doesn't sound real. This sounds like a play, you know, where the bad guy kills the good guy's dad and everything, and then he has to take power and get him back, you know. And so Alexander the Great, you know, he had to scuffle a little bit to get the crown because he like had to kill his brother, I think. But like back then, it's like killing your brother wasn't a big of a deal because you'd have like 150 brothers. You'd have like, you know, not like three or four. You'd have a lot, and a lot you just didn't even talk to. So it's like, fuck it, I'll kill this guy. Um, so he inherits this giant army. You know, these great, highly trained guys, and he has just an option. He's like, I can just be a regular king, you know, and do king stuff, and you know, do what's best for Greece, and like, you know, play the part. Or he's like, I can fuck these guys up. I can go and take over like the known world. He he just like, I don't even care. He's like, I don't even care. I don't even give a shit. I don't give. He had zero fucks in his gas tank. So when he inherits the crown, right? Again, 20 years old. He fucking takes his army and he marches over and he destroys Thebes, which is like the southwestern, like a little island chain below Greece, and he like royally fucked them up, royally, like just like killed, like had no mercy, like, and it was like people were like really judgmental about that. You know, even the Persians were like, dude, what the fuck? So if you look on how like where Greece is like positioned, right? He starts marching down this coastline, one at a time, going city to city to city to city. These are big cities; they're like a million people, and you know, he gets to the city, and all the ships sail out in the edge of the Mediterranean, and they're like, because these are Persian towns that he's invading. He's like, I need to take over these cities and ports so I can use them. But also the ships that left, right? They're like, we're gonna go tell Persia. We're gonna go tell like the boss what's going on, and you're all gonna die because they can summon like a million-man army. And Alexander the Great would just go town to town to town. He'd leave like half his army at one town and go to the next town. So it would keep these guys like out to sea. They couldn't port because it's like, if you port, then we're gonna kill you, you know, and you're gonna fucking run out of water. You're gonna run out of water, and it's like, dude, it's such a hard decision. So they kept going, no, and they just ended up dying. Or they'd go in and, you know, sometimes he was nice and like let people live, but other times he just didn't give a fuck. So he keeps going down this coast, and he eventually gets to Babylon. And what Babylon is like the Fort Knox of Persia. It's fucking, it has all the money, does all the banking, all the financials for everything. That's where all the taxes go. It's huge. And this is Persia, the biggest country in the world at this point, right? So this is a big deal. So that was a huge hit. So then after that, Alexander the Great is going straight for Darius. He's not looking for anything else. He's just trying to find Darius after he gets Babylon. So Darius realizes this and assembles his army. Right, he assembles a 600,000 or so. You know, I didn't. I've read like a couple books about this, so you know they argue a lot. You know, some say like 600,000, some say like 100,000, but let's say a million. So let's go with 600,000. So because you know it's kind of cool. So in his army, he has mostly, you know, just armed guys. It's what it is. They don't have like any armor or anything. They have like cloth shields. And that's really it. But they have scythed chariots, which are like chariots where there's two guys shooting bows at people and stuff. But when they're scythed, they have these like swords on the side into the wheel. So when they spin, it's like one of those old lawnmowers, and people like get like chopped in half by those things. And I couldn't even imagine that. Like just watching like your buddies get turned into like hamburger over there. You're like, dude, what the fuck is it? Like that's like having like a car. That's like having like a dirt. I mean, what are those things called? The fucking I don't know, rock'em sock'em car. I don't fucking know. But anyways, so they also had elephants, which was a fucking giant deal. And a giant like they were big elephants, and they would go right into the phalanx and just break it the fuck up because it's so big. And by the way, it's not like, like, oh, we see an elephant, it's like those guys had never seen anything like that before. That's like if like we went to Afghanistan and went to go, join the fight. We went over there and they were fucking riding dragons. That's how like intense this is. It's like, what the like we don't even we've never seen this. We never imagined this would be a thing. And you're going to all these new lands, by the way. You're going like into like deserts and like jungles and shit. You're from like Greece, which isn't like really like that at all. I think I don't know. I've never been. Um. So, anyways, he has a 600,000 man army, right, with all these goodies and all these fucking hard ass soldiers and shit. And he picks his where he wants to fight. He's got the home field advantage, so he's like, I'm going to use it. So he picks a really flat open area, like flat for like like 7 or 8 miles, and like he has everything cleared, all the rocks and like little hills and trees and shit. Which, when you think about it, like 8 miles worth of shit, that's a lot. Like that's a lot of like hard landscaping work, I guess. So you do need a lot of fucking people for that, and it's just I don't know. It kind of baffles me when you think about how many people, like 600,000 people. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure the fucking population like Albany and Troy is like under a million or something. So it's like that big. Anyways, so he clears all this away and everything, and Alexander the Great, they get to them, but they're like they camp away from each other because they're gonna fight the next day and figure it out. But what happens is, um, Alexander the Great camps 4 miles away, just like which isn't far at all, and it freaked the Persians out a lot. They like were really really scared that Alexander the Great was gonna fucking go in on a fucking night attack and murder them, right? So the entire army is just fucking on watch all night. All night they were. And Alexander the Great and his guys were just sleeping. They didn't give a shit. They didn't care at all. They're like, you know what, whatever. They did it just to freak him out, and it did. Which you do need sleep. I need sleep to go fucking do an easy job. I couldn't imagine like getting enough sleep to go fight in a fucking war with swords and spears and shit. So this is when it gets crazy. All right, and you're gonna have to bear with me because I'm high and I gotta explain this battle. I don't have like an eraser, an expo marker, or whatever. So gonna have to deal with it today. I'll get one because I have an expo board. But all right, I need an intermission real quick. I'm fucking dying. I don't know what the difference between indica and sativa is, but whatever. So I also didn't mention Alexander the Great. He has only 40,000 guys and 7,000 cavalry, right? So he's fighting an army that's like 600,000 people. So that's like 14 to 1, like one guy has to kill 14 guys for them to like, like not win but draw, I guess. And that's a lot of fucking people to be honest. So they were vastly outnumbered, and the Persians had all this fancy shit and everything. So this is why this battle is looked at as like a really, really strategic battle that it's one of like the best examples of military strategy in history. That's it. That's all. That's why I'm doing it. It's cool. We need a rundown. I didn't hear about it until fucking I started listening to shit. So, all right. So the battle starts the next day. Early in the morning, and All right, I'm gonna explain it like it's on a football field. So imagine Darius starting at the 20-yard line. Darius just has these like just lines of soldiers, like 600,000 people. His lines spread like 3 or 4 miles. That across, right? That's so many fucking people. They're standing shoulder to shoulder, not standing far away. Like that's so many fucking guys. I couldn't 3 fucking miles, 3 miles. So, and they go back in ranks. They're like, like four deep or whatever. They're fucking, there's so many people. And Darius is like right in the middle of the football field, right? Right in line. And he's probably on like the 10. So Darius's ranks drop all the way back to like, the goal line because he has four of them, and one on the 15, one on the 10, one on the 5. So on the other side, Alexander the Great realizes that he's fucking like super outnumbered, and like they keep going to the left forever for him. So what he does is he puts his army in like a cascading order. So like he has like a couple of phalanxes on the 20, and then starting at the hashes, they start angling down and backwards until they get to the goal line. So one on the 15, one on the 10, and they keep going backwards. And then there was just the rest of the guys were just on the goal line, like in the middle, ready to just fill in wherever they're needed. So they, it, so what Alexander the Great realizes is he's like, if we could, beat these guys, like 1 to 14, because our soldiers are so good and they have the heavy armor and everything. But if I like, he can't lose any battles because he's so far from home at this point, and he doesn't have any guys to fight with him really. So he can't lose any battle. Like every battle is like life or death for him. He's fighting up a weight class. So he says, "I need to go after the head of the snake." So, like I said, he is on the 10-yard line. Darius is right, and so the Greeks start coming forward, and so do the Persians. They meet in the middle, right? But as that was happening, Alexander took him and his cavalry, which are called the companions, and I'll tell you why. They were like the 7,000 cavalry were like Alexander's like good friends and guys that he grew up like fighting with, like training with, and so they've always been close. So there's more like a bond, and they work better together. So they go on their horses, right? And they're going. Imagine they're going like towards the sideline, at an angle, and they're just running, and their horses are some of the best horses in the world, so they're just going fast. And the Persian army, their guys are mirroring that because they're going to be like, we're going to catch you and stop you and block you, in the center. And Alexander the Great, they keep going, they keep going, they keep going, they keep going, and they're riding fucking hard, 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 hard. And at the last second, right, they cut back and they like literally break the ankles of the Persian like horses and shit. Like horses like flipped because guys are trying to be like, whoa. And they got on the inside of them, right? They got on the inside and they came back. And they started, if you look at my shitty drawing, they started coming back over here and they broke through the first line at like an oblique angle is what they say. But they broke through like going on like a 45-degree angle. And instead of going straight up, and they get through the first line, and then they just start like they get through like the second line, like the army wasn't ready for this because they're just killing everybody, and they get like really close to Darius. Like originally they were only like 300 yards away, like so they were really close, but he gets like 30 yards away. So you have to realize how crazy this is. All right, let's backtrack. Alexander the Great is like Darth Vader right now. He's just marching into like this new land, and everybody in Persia is like terrified of this guy. He's just driving around in his Death Star, with his companions, killing everybody, and no one can do anything. But all right, also, Darius killed his fucking dad. This is like a heated, like a fucking Martin Scorsese movie. This is a fucking really like big plot, and Darius is fucking scared, right? But both of these guys are fucking heads of state. Alexander the Great is the head of fucking state of Greece and that in this army. And if he fucking dies, this whole thing's over. The whole thing's done. I just can't like wrap my head around that. That's like if Russia invaded the U.S. tomorrow, right? And Putin, you just see Putin on CNN. There's got a camera on him. You just see him running towards the fucking White House with an M60, and he's just fucking has a red bandana on and just camel pants, and he's just fucking running, and he's just shooting at the White House like Trump, calling him out. Like that's how crazy that is. That's how insane this is. And so he takes it straight to him, the head of the snake, because he wants to get this battle done and over with. Fast, fast. He gets 30 yards away from Darius, right? Darius didn't bring like fight and shit. He didn't think he was gonna fight. He thought he was gonna like clean this guy up. They're throwing javelins at this guy, right? They're throwing javelins like at him. They destroy his Darius's royal guard. Like they're like the immortals. If you ever seen like 300, they're like those guys. They're like the best of the best of the best of the best. And they get just slaughtered because there's 7,000 of these fucking companions who just riding through, just jobbing. They don't give a fuck. And fucking so Darius is a god king, right? He's the pharaoh. Like his army was kind of nervous about it because they heard all the hype about Alexander, and then they, you're kind of like freaked out before you get into battle. Like if any of you guys play sports, you're like kind of like nervous before a game, but you can imagine before like fighting people with shields and shit. I couldn't fucking do that. But anyway, so fucking, then they see Darius driving down the line, that 4 mile line of people, and with his fucking 8 white horses and all the gold on them and his fucking beautiful chariot. And everybody's like, yeah, we're gonna get fucking hyped. We're gonna win. So they're all hyped. He's the captain, right? I'm the captain. He's the captain of the ship. And he doesn't know what to do. Like if you put yourself in that position where you're just like everybody's dying around you, you're getting blood just sprayed on you from like all your friends, all your coworkers, your horses are dying. Like it's it's chaos. It's literally like so much. You're just so overhyped. You're like, oh my gosh, there's just too much going around. I'd be fucking terrified. And he fucking takes off. He just takes his horses and gets the fuck out of Dodge. He goes through, and his entire army is just watching him just, ride off into the fucking sunset to get away from this savage. And his army starts retreating too. A lot of like the whole right side started fucking collapsing because they were just leaving. Because Darius was fucking leaving. And Alexander was gonna fucking go after him. He started to go after him, but they had to stop him because his on his left side of his half circle of guys, the Persians broke through. They mirrored what Alexander did for the most part, and they fucking started destroying everybody. And so the Greeks are having a hard time with that because also the elephants again. Back to this, the elephants would come to this phalanx and they would use those like 16-foot pikes to stab them, but they're elephants, so if they get momentum, they'll just plow right through. And the scythe chariots and stuff, it's really really fascinating. They would just all the Greeks would do was just javelin. They just throw javelins at like these elephants or the scythe chariots, and like I couldn't imagine that. You're riding, you have again all of these spears just coming right at you, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's just it's overstimulation. I just couldn't do it. I don't know, I couldn't do it. And so Darius runs off. Alexander the Great has to turn around with him and the companions to go save Parmenio, who's commanding that side. And they eventually kill, the rest of the Persians that stayed. And so Alexander the Great lost. Honestly, I don't know how much he lost. He didn't lose that much. He didn't lose that much, to be honest. But the Persians had 200,000 deaths, casualties, right? So they fucked them up bad, like bad. And the next day after everybody's like together, like they take like a couple days rest, they fucking start chasing Darius and everything, and it takes like a couple of weeks, but eventually they catch up after like days and days and days of riding, and they try to have another battle, but Darius's fucking friends just stabbed him, right? Because they're like, you're a pussy king, we're taking over. It was like a coup. So he gets stabbed, he dies. Alexander the Great finds him, gives him this nice burial and everything, but it's crazy because who Alexander the Great is. Of like he's 20 years old. I'm 20. I thought I was cool when I fucking got my apartment, let alone inheriting this fucking dynasty and you just ride all over everybody. I couldn't imagine that. He's just like a force and it's interesting and fun, but he eventually gets to Europe and shit. But all right, this is the first episode. I just hope you guys like it. Yeah, I'll get better with this stuff as I go along. I'm new, so whatever. But all right, High Road to History, episode one, episode two, one redo.